Hello, this is Unsung with GameLeap, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the new map changes to Summoner's Rift, the next 3 champion releases, the name of the League of Legends boy band, and what Riot is planning lore-wise in the long term. Let's go ahead and get right into it, starting with the map changes. These leaks are directly from the Riot Games dev servers, brought to us by a visual effects artist on accident. The exact map changes here might not ship, but Riot confirmed terrain and map changes in the last big dev blog, so the likelihood of these being finalized are pretty high. First and foremost, Barren Pit is turning into more of a barren field. The wall splitting Barren off from the rest of the river has been completely ripped up, which has some scary implications for junglers. In the current game, the red side jungler can do their red and walk over to contest the blue side jungler at Gromp pretty easily. This is made so much more effective by this change simply due to the fact that we can get there faster, but we also don't need any extra mobility to clear this wall in a timely manner. Currently, Graves, Kayn, Kindred, and the like have a significantly easier time getting there quickly because it can simply skip over the wall. This isn't the case now. Barren Pit being a field will also change how the game is going to play in the mid and late game stages, because the warding meta as we know it will shift if these terrain changes do end up going through. There will be way more pockets of fog of war, especially if all the bushes remain. Next up, there is a huge wall present in the mid lane near the red side, blue, and wolf camp. This could be a way to make immobile champions a little bit safer during the lane phase and to close off escape routes for mobile assassins like Zed. Currently, it's really easy to get ganked from these angles as the fog of war extends quite far, and they create easy escapes for early game dives. If this change is mirrored, which more than likely it will be, the mid laner in general will not have to worry about the enemy bot lane randomly sauntering on up after crashing a wave or having a support randomly appear to bail out lane opponents when there's downtime in the bot lane. This will give you a lot more time in the 1v1 to actually express your skill without having to worry about support gap. If you ever want a head start on ranked when these changes drop, head on over to GameLeap.com to gain access to all of our paid premium courses. We'll be updating the site as these changes roll out to give you the best chance at having an edge over everyone else in your games, so you can earn some extra LP at the start of the season. Now that we've covered the terrain changes, let's go ahead and talk champions. Hwei is going to be the name of the Ink Mage champion, and from what Riot has said, he either evolves throughout the game or hyperscales similarly to Kayle. They explicitly state that there are 3 stages to artistry: fundamentals, divergence, and then transcendence. The way that this is written expresses this using 3 descriptions for each stage. It would make sense that he would evolve as the game goes on, with points in his ultimate, since we only receive 3 ultimate points on most champion. Hwei is dedicated to art and has another 3 subjects that he wants to express through it. This obsession with the number 3 is pretty close to what we have with Jhin and 4. This is only made more apparent by the end of the article. Hwei is hinted at being somber and dreary, more similar to Kayn and Aphelios, but his abilities are going to be striking and colorful. A quote directly from his designer reads that art requires a certain level of empathy instead of art requires a certain cruelty, which is straight up ripped from Jhin. A new rival, a partner perhaps, only time will tell. This champion looks like it's going to be really interesting. The champion slated for release after Hwei is going to be a monster ADC. A picture of an egg is shown with all the correct descriptions for a baby dragon or a drake. Whatever the case is, this champion is 100% going to be spewing flames everywhere. Our dragon friend is also stated to be quite large to begin with, but it's also suggested that he'll grow as the game goes on, continuing this scaling theme that's present in the article. It is also hinted that this champion's mom is somewhere nearby, also protecting him, which could lead to some really interesting gameplay. Maybe we'll have a not-so-baby dragon spitting fire using his abilities, and then the ult has the mom swoop down to do some real damage. What do you guys think? Our next champion here has the least amount of information available. It's going to be a Vastayan solo laner from the icy region of the Freljord. She loves to explore and can see things that others can't. There is a heavy lean towards this champion being a rabbit due to all this, as rabbits are known to freeze up and stare off into the distance as if something is looming, while also being well suited to alpine environments. Make sure to like the video and to subscribe to the GameLeap YouTube channel to stay in the loop. Skarner has finally had some meaningful progress put into his visual gameplay update. A few updates ago, Riot finally settled on a direction for him, which is going to be an Ixtali Earth Elemental. In this blog, we have the first actual representations of him in game. Instead of being an actual scorpion, they've changed his legs from 8 to 6, and they've given him 3 tails instead of 1. His thematic has also greatly shifted from the original Ixtali design, with him looking more bug than rock. What's most important about this is that all of his new abilities have been teased. Skarner's new Q has him tear massive boulders from the ground that buff his auto attack. However, Skarner can choose to throw this boulder at any point for a long-range skill shot that applies a slow and a huge amount of damage. More than likely, the boulder enhanced auto attacks will do % damage or something similar. Perhaps they'll even apply a small slow. Skarner's W is a stomp that deals magic damage and grants him a shield and potentially buffs him in some other way. It looks like they've definitely pulled the move speed from the skill though and put it on his E. Skarner's E is essentially a Vayne Condemned combined with Nunu W, except Skarner can travel through terrain and tears a boulder from walls that he passes through. This, when paired with the new walls around the mid lane, seems like it's going to be quite potent to say the least. And finally, the R seems like it's going to be an AoE version of the current R, but a skill shot instead of targetable. Riot still wants Skarner to have large playmaking and pick potential, but a huge role of this rework is to make his basic abilities really strong because currently they're super weak. This is largely due to how much of a power budget Skarner's R takes up. It's a point-click suppression that leads into a huge stun lock. So currently, this leaves the rest of Skarner's kit as quite weak. Along with all the ability and base skin art, there's also some concept art for some of Skarner's skins, showing off all of his new updated visuals. Personally, I think that they look pretty good, and I'm really excited to see him on the Rift. This champion in his current form is really feast or famine, but he's super oppressive when he's ahead. However, it's difficult for Skarner to actually create a lead due to how weak his abilities are. Hopefully, this will mean that Skarner is a little bit more balanced and more fun to play. Now that we've covered our champions, let's go ahead and talk about the new skin line. The name of the boy band group is going to be Heartsteel. Kayn is the legendary skin, Yone being the prestige, with K'Sante, Aphelios, Ezreal, and Set filling out the rest of the lineup. Yone and Aphelios will more than likely not have a speaking role in this group, and instead are more of management. Set, K'Sante, Ezreal, and Kayn will all be present in the new debut single, Paranoia, set to release on October 23rd. I'm sure that there will be a Worlds event like there was for KDA and True Damage in the past, so you have that to look forward to for finals. Honestly, I'm kind of interested to see if there's going to be another 3D concert like there was last year. Showing on the screen right now are a couple new pictures of the brand new leaked promotional art. I think that the skin line does look pretty good, but you can tell that it's definitely taken a lot of inspiration from both KDA and True Damage. Personally, I don't really know what Riot is doing giving K'Sante another music-related skin. He is designed by Lil Nas X, he has the Prestige Empyrean skin, which is 100% music-inspired, and now he's already getting a boy band skin. Kind of an interesting choice, but you know, it is what it is. I just wish that Riot was a little bit more experimental with the current skin lines. It seems like a lot of the old skins are kind of just being rehashed over and over and over again, which isn't particularly nice. Now onto the new game mode. Quick Play is going to replace Blind Pick in the near future. If you've been around League for a few years, then we had something very similar to this called Team Builder. First and foremost, matchmaking happens in the lobby, so there's no actual champ select or dodges that you can do. As soon as the queue pops, you load into a game. You'll be able to select 2 champions and 2 roles before queuing up F playing solo. 2 to 4 stacks will get the solo roles, but also require 1 unique champion. This means that we all can't queue as like Garen and Teemo, for example. Everybody in the lobby will also have to select a unique primary role, which is pretty similar to draft. The reason why Riot is choosing to sunset Blind Pick largely comes down to toxicity. They don't like how people can grief each other, they don't like dodges because of it, and they don't like that getting your role is essentially RNG. Another interesting aspect of this mode that makes it quicker than a traditional game is the lessened FF timer. Now you can FF at 10 minutes with 4 out of 5 people voting yes instead of being forced to wait until 15. At 20 minutes, however, 3 out of 5 people must vote yes to FF, which is kind of strange. You would imagine that Riot would just make it 15 to make it consistent with a normal game. The estimated release date for this is as early as 13.22 if everything goes smoothly, which is very close. More than likely this won't ship this early though, as there are some large changes. If you want to play this, it's going to be on the PvE very soon, along with the huge itemization update, which we should be receiving in a few days. Personally, when I started playing League of Legends, Blind Pick was the most popular mode. It has definitely went down in popularity though, especially for new players. It's really hard to get your role, and it's definitely harder to play a champion that you want to play with other champions, or to just mess around and have fun. The frequency of dodging has gone up, people get really tilted in champ select, and you're not allowed to play anything that's off meta. I'm pretty optimistic about these changes. Hopefully it'll mean that we don't actually have to queue up for draft. It really sucks when you don't want to play a competitive game mode and then you're forced to sit through a 5-minute champ select to get into a draft, which can be dodged, and then you're forced to wait, another minute or 2 in queue. It just is a terrible experience overall. It's really good that they're trying to modernize League and make the experience a little bit more streamlined. If this does pretty well, I would imagine that we would see similar changes to ranked, as Riot doesn't really like people playing multiple roles anymore, so keep an eye out on this for sure. Now onto League of Legends lore. Essentially everything that Riot releases from this article onwards is considered part of one shared canon. They're not going to write as many short stories, and instead are going to rely on cinematics and games to add all onto the lore. The Season 2024 cinematic will have a large impact on things to come, along with the Song of Nunu, which releases on November 1st. A large part of the game going to one shared canon has to do with like Ruined King and Riot's other projects. There are huge differences between Miss Fortune, for example, in regular League of Legends and then Legends of Runeterra and the Ruined King standalone game. This change at a glance seems quite small, but it means that we're going to get a lot of content to the regular League of Legends game shortly. Think about the impact that Arcane had on League as a whole. We saw new skins for Jace, new skins for Vi, new skins for Jinx. You get the idea. If your first view of one of these characters was from Arcane, you might be disappointed to see in League they're kind of a husk. They're not really fully fleshed out, and they definitely aren't a complete character. Riot is also really amping up production of these external products. There is that new Sylas game, the Echo game, and now Song of Nunu coming out, so hopefully we'll have more characterization for our characters so we can actually get invested in the League universe. With the League of Legends MMO coming out very soon, we'll have to get an idea of what the overall lore is going to be, so we're not just playing League, which is completely separate from the MMO, and instead we're all in that one same universe. Honestly, these changes have me really excited for the League of Legends MMO and to see what Riot's going to end up doing with it. Anyways, this concludes essentially all of the League of Legends news that's available for us at the moment. There are going to be a lot of gameplay changes and new leaks coming our way, so make sure that you like the video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all things League of Legends. Anyways, this was Unsung with GameLeap. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next video.